So, in the great movie The Odyssey, there are so many things to talk about, and especially honestly, since I watched this movie, it is such a fine piece of art. It is such an elevated thing that you don't even want to think about other stuff in life. And that is the beauty of a great art piece, that you remember it forever and it elevates you. That is the most important thing about it. So, so many things to talk about in the movie Odyssey, but right now I want to talk about the best character written in this film, and it was hands down the character of Robert Pattinson. Means there were some interesting things in the character of Elliot Page also, but that was a very short character. It just came for not even 2 or 3 minutes, a screen time of not even 3 or 4 minutes. I don't know exactly. But Robert Pattinson, even if his character was also very short, but so many things happen, and he does so many things. His acting was so fabulous, and the way his character is written is so well written. He's shown to be a very clever and conniving and extremely smart person. And he's the nemesis of Odysseus in this film, and Odysseus is also supposed to be very smart. He is not like brute force like Achilles is, but Odysseus is supposed to be a smart person. But the character of Robert Pattinson is, on the other hand, he's a different type of smart. Whereas the character of Odysseus is a moral guy most of the times. He holds some moral law, but the character of Robert Pattinson in this film is straight up conniving, conspiring, clever, that kind of smart. And so many scenes of him, in the very first scenes, when he looks at Tom Holland, and when there is no Odysseus around, and all the suitors are in the house, and somebody's, I think, fighting with Tom Holland, and he sees that, and the kind of disgust and the kind of look that Robert Pattinson gives to that character, it looks so well, man. It was so well acted. It was such a well acted scene. If we then later on see Robert Pattinson having a conversation with Anne Hathaway, Penelope, and he's so smart there, means that he pulls off, he tries to seduce Penelope, and he tries to seduce her, and he gives, of course he's handsome, so he tries to show her that he really loves her, and Penelope even asks her in this scene that why do you love someone who loves someone else, why do you want to marry someone who loves someone else? And he gives a genuine reason, he talks about love and all these things, and suddenly we realize that he is actually he's actually seducing his his love interest, Mia Goth character as well, the character of, so, and it is very clear that he's a very smart character, so he's also, he's just using Mia Goth, the character of Mia Goth in this film, and the same way he's just using Penelope. All he wants is real power, and that is it. All he wants is just to rule the kingdom. So extremely well thought. And when that romantic scene is even going on, between means not a romantic scene, just a conversation, but when Penelope and this character of Robert Pattinson, they are talking, you do not question his intentions at all. It's actually until the end of this conversation, when she asks him that what will happen to my son Telemachus, and he says that Telemachus will be the heir to the throne, unless we don't have another child. So he just straight up, he's extremely smart person. He knows how to, he knows how to play with character, how to play with people, how to move them. And then he just goes out and kisses the character of Mia Roth. Very, very well, extremely well written, extremely beautiful. And even when they are having that conversation, Penelope and Robert Pattinson, they are having it behind a cloth, and it is such a beautifully shot scene. Like, it really feels like there's a real romantic and genuine conversation going on. Very, very well written. And then you see his intelligence at the very end of the film, when everybody tries to use that bow and arrow to complete the task, to win the love of Penelope. However, Robert Pattinson waits. He says that I will wait my chance out. He's a very conniving guy. He's a very smart guy. He is not going to just do it. So he says that, okay, yeah, I will wait my chance out. And when everyone else is done, he knows that he cannot do it. He cannot put the string, like he cannot pull the string of that arrow. He cannot do that thing. So he is so smart. He talks in such a glib way, in such a persuasive way. He says that nobody can replace Odysseus, but still the queen has to make the right decision. Please check all of us, because he knows that he has been involved with. He has had conversations with Penelope. He has had conversation with he knows that if she has to choose, if push comes to shove, and out of all those suitors, out of all those suitors up there, if Penelope has to choose one guy, she will choose him. So that kind of master technique that that he doesn't means what a smart act. Like, if there was no Odysseus, and Penelope literally had to make up her mind, so she would definitely be choosing Robert Pattinson. I mean, he was the most deserving character in all of them, and even then we realize, there's another part of the movie where we come to know that Elliot Page actually replaced the character of Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson was supposed to go to the war, but that character was replaced by Elliot Page's character. So that is another beautiful, means from the very get-go, this guy is shown to be extremely smart. As a teen also, he knows how to, he knows how to dodge he knows how to not go to the war, and send somebody else, and meanwhile try to become the ruler of this kingdom. So even from his teenage years, he's shown extreme smartness, amazing. And then at the very end, when it is revealed that Odysseus is there, and Odysseus starts fighting all those suitors, he does not even try to fight Odysseus. He does not even try. He knows that he cannot do it. He knows that he's not any match to the power of the great King Odysseus. That guy has been out of his kingdom for 20 years. He survived the Trojan War. He survived war for 10 years. Then that guy was somewhere stranded. So he knows that this guy is super strong. Super strong. He does not even try. He knows that he's going to lose. So what he does is he uses his smartness. He sends he puts other people ahead, and then he just tries to give weapon to people. He's the more weapons that are thrown on the ground by one of his confidants in those in his servants, in the servants of among the servants of Odysseus, all those characters. One of the characters is throwing the weapons from the upper floor to the downwards, and he's giving all those to other people. He's not even trying to fight, and it just shows how smart he is. he knows he is no match to him, and he does not even try to be any match. Like, he does not even miss. That is not the war he wants to fight. And it's ultimately when Odysseus is hit by 2-3 bows or swords, then he comes and he says that you thought you could kill all of us. Means very smart, very smart, very, very, very smart. And of course he's going to die in this at the end of the film, because he's a villain, and this is a historical drama. Like, this is not some new thing that they have to make other parts of, but he is over. But one of the most, even in the very few scenes that he was in, he showed extreme smartness, extreme intelligence, extreme cleverness. Honestly, I will say that I don't remember seeing such smart character anywhere else. Like, in the recent films, a character as conniving and as transpiring as this person, is just very rare to see something like that. So I will give all the props to, of course, I don't know how much of all this was literally there in the Homer's Odyssey, but I will do a lot of props to Christopher Nolan, and of course the acting of Robert Pattinson. When another part is there when Robert Pattinson is literally standing there and he's trying to argue that, hey, Queen, why don't you give me your, why don't you just make your decision? And Odysseus, he's disguised as a beggar, and he says that, hey, I have not tried my part. And that way Robert Pattinson smiles, in the middle of the conversation, it is like goosebumps, man. That guy is a fabulous actor, fabulous. He's showing why he deserves to be in so many important roles. Means he's handsome as hell, of course. His face cut is extremely nice, but he shows that why he deserves to be the Batman, and why he deserves to be the one and the only, means the villain in Dune Part 3, the concluding film. And very, 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 very rare that all the 3 films are going to be awesome, and very, very, very important, because Denis Villeneuve is going to direct this Dune part as the last sequel of this Dune film, and he's not going to direct any other Dune film ever. I think he's done with it. So he's in a very important position, and I think he's going to make a great film, man. He's without any question. He's going to hit it hard. Amazing, man. That Robert Pattinson, he's superb, man. I still remember. Sometimes I remember the way he smiled when, again, I'm going to say the same thing, the same scene where the character of Odysseus, described as beggar, says that, hey, I have not tried my part. And the way he smiles at that thing, that, hey, that so many people, so many warriors have not been able to pull it off, and you think you will do it? It was phenomenal, man. It was phenomenal piece of acting. All the salute and respect to both of them, and of course the people who played the role. But yeah, the most salute to Mr. Nolan and the great, and the great Robert Pattinson. Amazing work done. Okay, thank you.